This week on Stay in the Truck, we're going to preview college football week 11. So grab you a cold beverage and let's go. Welcome to Stay in the Truck, the ultimate podcast for sports enthusiasts and avid gamblers alike. Each week we'll provide you with invaluable insights, analysis, and tips to elevate your game. We can be found on all major podcast and social media outlets. See the show notes for details. Stick around to the end to hear this week's most boneheaded sports moments with our Stay in the Truck Awards. So let's jump right into this week's show. All right, boys, so week 10 is in the books. We saw number 22 Oklahoma State destroying Oklahoma's college football playoff hopes and an undefeated Air Force getting mollywopped by Army. Before we jump into recapping some of those games, let's talk about the college football playoffs.
They're bullshit.
Yeah, I don't buy this stuff. This made-for-TV drama on ESPN is all it is.
I mean, the fact that you've got, well, the Ohio State bias is absolutely ridiculous.
Church Street.
How do you do a 9-0 Ohio State team that has lost 2 times consecutively to Michigan, got their ass beat last year, has struggled this year and been down how many times at halftime? A couple times at least.
3 or 4, yeah.
And then down this weekend 9-7 to Rutgers. And the only reason the game even turned around is because they had a 93-yard pick six. Had that not happened, there's no telling how bad it would have been because Rutgers was about to score again. So Ohio State, I just can't believe the bias, man. You got a Michigan team that, as a Georgia fan, right? I'm a Georgia fan. I want Georgia to be ranked first all the time. Well, maybe not because I need them motivated. But to me, Michigan and the way they are just handling business, regardless, let's put aside all that stolen sign bullshit and just look at the football that's being played on the field. They are absolutely manhandling everybody they play. Rutgers was like they were playing a high school girls football team. And so to have
Purdue and Indiana.
all of them. And so the fact that they've got Ohio State ranked over Michigan is just absolutely absurd.
That's all Harbaugh needs for 2 weeks from now.
Right.
If you look at the AP Top 25 polls and you look at the coaches' polls, they have Georgia ranked. Now, again, we're a little Georgia biased on the show. I won't lie to you. But Ohio State's not ranked number 1. They're not even ranked number 2. I mean, I'm right there with you, man. If somebody's going to be ranked number 1 over Georgia right now, it should be Michigan.
The analysts and the coaches are going to rank Georgia first. It's a respect thing.
Yeah.
You've got a 2-time defending national champ that's undefeated. They didn't pick their schedule. But regardless, they're a 2-time defending national champ that's undefeated.
They hadn't lost a game in 3 years, right? Regular season game in 3 years.
Kirby started his record with Georgia, I think it was 45 or 40 and 15 or something. And since then, he's gone like 50-1 or something crazy. Stupid. Some ludicrous record. But I mean, we're seeing history in the making with this Georgia team, even if they fall off the wagon or don't win it all, because you can't win it all every year. It's too competitive of a market. But I just can't get over the Ohio State bias. I can't get over it when you turn the TV on. All they want to talk about is Ohio State. All they want to talk about is Marvin Harrison Jr. All they want to talk about is sucking off Ryan Day and how Jim Harbaugh's a cheater. Except for Louis Riddick. Louis Riddick came out on ESPN. He's one of the analysts. I don't know if you guys are know who he is, but he came out this week and he said sign stealing has always been a part of the game. In the early 2000s when he was on the field, sign stealing is part of the game. Get over it, move on. Everybody does it. Shut up, close the book, and let's play football.
No different than baseball, unless you're the Houston Astros now.
Yeah, no, they're mic'd up.
Yeah, that's a little bit different.
They're holding the jersey close.
Across some trash cans.
Yeah, in sports in general, you're gonna, if you can get an edge and you figure it out, well, why are you going to be punished for that?
Well, there's millions and millions of dollars on the line. If you can pick up, why do you think Oregon used to have 4 sets of signs when Chip Kelly was there, and they'd have 4 or 5 people holding up signs on the sideline? Because people are trying to steal their signs. Like, no shit, just,
Well, we're going to find out. Last game of the season, Ohio State plays Michigan. So
yeah, I mean, I hate Ohio State with the best of them, but I mean, they do have 2 ranked wins over Notre Dame, which may end up falling out of the top 25 if they haven't already, and then over Penn State, number 9. Michigan plays Penn State this weekend, also still ranked number 9, so that may help Michigan leapfrog up to the top next week if they can get a win.
Well, I'm not over my Ohio State bias. Listen to this bullshit stat that I read this morning. I want to share with you. They did a percentage. ESPN has done a percentage of every team's chance to make it to the college football playoff.
Yeah, I did see that.
Ohio State is sitting at 77%. So you're telling me that Ohio State is going to be favored over Michigan?
No.
Because Michigan's sitting at 43%.
And the game is in Michigan.
And it's with 100 and how many thousand people does that stadium hold now?
The big
110,000
house,
people.
baby.
What the fuck they call it? You know, they got Ohio State sitting at 77%. The easiest road to the playoff is Florida State, who I don't even think is in the top 5 team in the country. But if they go undefeated and win out the ACC, but I tell you, they got a tricky game coming up this week. Even though Miami struggled, it's an in-state rivalry.
But it's in Tallahassee. They're a different team at home.
They are, and
I don't know about 2 touchdowns, but they're a different team at home.
You're talking about a different team at home. We'll get to Ole Miss, Georgia in a little while.
Yeah,
but
I got some of that too.
you got some of that, but I'm talking about a different team at home. Ole Miss, anyway. Florida State has the easiest road, so I could see them being at a 62% chance to make it because they just got to win out in a shit conference. Clemson shit the bed this year, so they got no real competition there. But Michigan, the way this thing reads is like they're honestly feeling like when the books are going to come out that Ohio State's going to be favored over Michigan.
I hope they are.
And then they got here's the
from a betting man's perspective.
Yeah, right. Please, but and then you got following up Michigan, Alabama with a 41%. So you're telling me Alabama's going to be favored over Georgia if Georgia runs the table on Ole Miss and Tennessee?
Right now, Georgia's be about a 2 to 3 point favorite in the Mercedes-Benz. So.
Yeah, but yet Alabama's got a 41% chance to make it according to their
that's
analytics.
What's funny to me. They're basically already picking Alabama to beat Georgia in the SEC championship, even though the odds makers would put Georgia as a favorite in the SEC championship.
Well, hey, there's that Saban love. ESPN still has that Saban love.
God.
They still got it. And Saban's pretty damn good, and that team has come a long way. And as a Georgia fan, I'm a little scared of that Alabama team because I've been saying it for weeks. Kirby's, in my opinion, over the last couple of years, one of the toughest things that we do on as a Georgia Bulldog fan is have to deal with a running quarterback.
Yep.
And those running quarterbacks kill us. But they killed Alabama this week. Even though LSU lost, he ran for 163 yards in 3 quarters.
Yeah.
Then they got Texas with a 40%, Georgia 39, Oregon 38. So
How about that one? How about the Oregon though?
Oregon is about to run the table.
Power ranking wise, from a betting standpoint, they're basically tied with Georgia.
Yeah,
for number 1.
I think I hate to say it, but if Georgia, Oregon's the team I'm scared of the most right now. Yeah. I know they took a loss to Washington, and we've already had
put out our feelings.
They're going to beat the shit out of Washington
So
when they play the Pac-12.
Let me ask you this now. Let's just say Ohio State or Michigan. Okay, either one of them. One of them's going to be undefeated, right? Okay.
Yep.
All right. So they're in.
If Michigan wins this week,
Whichever. Yeah. I'm just saying if both of them teams when they play each other, one of them's going to be undefeated. Okay. Then you got Georgia and Bama. If Georgia goes the rest of the way regular season, they'll play Bama in the SEC. All right. Now let's say Bama beats Georgia. So now you got a undefeated Michigan
in a close game.
Right. You have an undefeated Michigan or Ohio State. You have a 1-loss Alabama or a 1-loss Georgia. Okay. Then let's say Texas runs out and wins the Big 12. They have 1 loss. Then Florida State's undefeated. Okay. And Oregon ends up revenging the loss to Washington, and they're 1 loss. Who's getting screwed? Florida State's in. Right?
Florida State's in. They're going to take the ACC champion.
Who's going to? And then the Big 12 winner.
I think you got to take the Pac-12 champion.
Do you take the Pac-12 champion over a Texas team that beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa?
I think you have to take the Pac-12 champion.
Do you take them over Texas?
I'll tell you why. Texas is going to lose to Oklahoma State.
No. That's not the scenario. But if they don't, if they don't, who's getting screwed? The ACC champions, Florida State, they're undefeated. They're in. The Big Ten champions in because they're undefeated.
Right.
There's only 2 more spots.
Yeah, this could be a real shit show of a season for sure.
If Georgia loses, they're out.
Yeah, I think so too.
They're out. I think they want them out.
Oh, yeah, probably.
I feel like they want them out. I don't know why, but there's a feeling that they want them out.
That's what I was saying. It depends on who's making the decision. If ESPN has anything to do with it,
yeah.
You're looking at a possible 1-loss Georgia team being out, a 1-loss Oregon team being out, or a 1-loss Texas team being out.
If Oregon just absolutely dwarfs Washington.
And Washington's undefeated when they play them now. Because if Washington goes down, then...
And that's their only loss, was a close game they should have won.
So
if they
that would
kicked
be a
some field
one-loss
goals.
Washington team, too.
But you got a one-loss Oregon team that beat the shit out of the only team that beat them to show that game was a fluke. I don't think that they can be out. I think that they got to be in. I think you got. I think you're going to have. I mean, right now, if I were picking the top four, I'm putting Michigan first, Georgia second. I'm putting Florida State. Actually, I'm putting Florida State first.
Yeah.
Florida State's
Because
the easiest odds in.
Yeah.
Florida State's in, so they're number one on the college football. And then number two, Michigan.
Yeah.
Number two, Michigan. Number three, Georgia. Number four, Oregon. That's got to be the top four.
And Texas gets screwed.
And Texas gets screwed.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have lost to Oklahoma.
Well, they should have
be a moot point in a few years. Is it next year with the college football?
The thing is,
the 12-team playoff.
Even though they managed to win in overtime, when you got to go back and look at that K-State game. When Quinn Ewers comes back, see how he does against Oklahoma State when they play the championship. We'll see what happens, but I think Texas's fate's going to write itself.
But the bottom line to the whole conversation is you're going to have two or three
Somebody
really good teams.
Yeah, really upset teams.
And a possible one-loss Washington if Oregon revenge them. There could be four really good teams.
Hey, does this not reinforce
the playoffs?
the fact that the 8-team playoff is needed so bad? Because right now we got 8 teams.
12. Yeah, we're going to 12. Yeah, but yeah.
Is it going to 12 teams?
Yep, 12 teams.
Shit.
12 teams.
Shows you how much I know. I've got a college football podcast.
Yeah, 12 seemed like a little much to me, but I figured 6 or 8. But hell, this year, if nothing else, shows you that it's needed for sure.
And then next year we'll get only 3 good teams in the whole nation. We'll have a bunch of 2 and 3 lost teams playing in it down. Then we'll be complaining, this ain't March Madness. This is not how it's supposed to be.
The Falcons conference last year.
It'll be Indiana in there and UCF, and yeah, for sure. All right, so let's switch gears a little bit and recap last week's games. Start with Air Force Army. Air Force comes in undefeated and gets absolutely demolished by Army.
Do you want to know how they got demolished?
Yeah. How many fumbles did they have? How many turnovers?
They had 8 more first downs, and they had 6 more yards on offense. But they had 6 turnovers.
6 turnovers, and they only had Army held them to 259 yards. That's
the pressure.
That Army defense that we watched Notre Dame run roughshod over to begin the year in Ireland just held this Air Force team who's been just drilling folks.
The Army put up 17 points in the first quarter, and then Bryson Daly ran for 170 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. Air Force quarterback Zach Larriere was 9 of 22 with a QBR of 7.1.
You fucking French now?
Larriere. Air Force did not have an Air Force passing attack.
No. Good for Army though. They're 3-6 now, so good for them.
Yeah, that's just this example of like a rivalry game. You know, when these service teams play each other,
and always take the under on these service games, guys. It's something I should have brought up a lot earlier, but these games always go under. This total here on this game was like 34 points or something.
So I picked Air Force last week I took the over, and of course you weren't here to guide me, so.
Yeah.
So it's your fault.
Listen,
exact opposite.
3 rules on our pod: take under on Iowa, over on USC, and under on all Academy games.
And if all 4 of us have the same pick, fucking bail. Bail on that bet, which I almost did this week.
Preseason NHL hockey, always take the overs.
Yeah, except this year it didn't work out real good.
Okay, so always take the unders.
That's a year to year. NHL's year to year.
All right. Oklahoma Sooners, Oklahoma State. What did you guys have for that one?
The last bedlam for the foreseeable future. I mean, Oklahoma's not going to have a chance to schedule Oklahoma State. Sorry, Okies, but that's not. Y'all can forget that because they're going to have their hands full with the big boys over here.
Are they going to have their hands full?
Look, Dylan Gabriel, he threw for 344, 1 touchdown, 1 pick though.
He's still a good football player. I actually enjoy watching him play. I think he's got a lot to offer, and I'm curious to see what happens at the end of the year when they come out with the quarterback rankings for the draft. How all the analysts and the NFL teams are going to put him in that list, because he wasn't even mentioned to start the year.
No,
but now he's in the category. Now you're hearing his name. His name's coming up when people talk about Michael Penix, and his name's coming up when people talk about Caleb Williams. So It's interesting to see, and I think he's played well. I've actually been able to watch. We've gotten some of those games, the full games with Dylan Gabriel, so I've been able to watch. But
Ollie Gordon, the second, the running back from Oklahoma State, 137 yards, 2 touchdowns. He has just something like the last 6 games. He has some
crushing
ungodly yardage.
Well, they're
and
giving him the
touchdowns.
ball.
Yes, they're finally giving him the ball.
I mean, 30 carries, 33
Where
carries.
was he at the first 3 or 4 games of the season? When South Alabama went to Stillwater, and you're talking about boat racing somebody, they beat them black and blue.
Well, Alan Bowman hadn't settled into his role. They were still pulling him out and playing the double, triple quarterback
Little
thing.
Gundy.
In college football anymore, leaning on a running back, giving them 27, 28, 29, 30, even 30. And this was 33 carries.
Yep.
You just don't see that.
No,
They
everything's by committee these days. Yep.
Right. So
So I saw a tweet. It was Oklahoma's Big 12 farewell tour. Lost to Kansas, first time since 1997. Lost to Oklahoma State, the final Bedlam game.
Yeah, farewell to the college football playoff.
well, they beat Texas. That's all they care about.
That's it. Let's talk about that Texas KSU game.
I sent y'all a text 10 minutes before game time. Said upsets of the week: Oklahoma State and Kansas State. Well, I was right about one, and I should have been right about the other if Kansas State could just make an extra point. They were 1 extra point away from winning this game in regulation time, and then they had to make a comeback to tie it up, and then they went to overtime. Blow an opportunity to eliminate Texas from all of the hypothetical bullshit. Who are they going to pick? Which one-loss team deserves to be in the college football playoff? When I'm looking at the eye test of these teams and I'm comparing your one-loss teams, if you got to go to overtime to beat Kansas State, or if you're losing at halftime to Rutgers, those are the answers. Like, I don't need a lot more information to decide who should be in and who should be out.
Yeah, but you know what that committee does look at, though? They do look at injuries, and they will see, okay, there was no yours. You know, he didn't play this game. You know, but he did play when they beat Alabama. You know,
Yeah.
they do look at the injuries. They do have that in consideration. But, you know, back to Malik Murphy, 19 for 37, 248 in the air, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Jonathan Brooks, 22 carries, 112 yards. They gotta do better than that. They got to do better than that. They're not beating Oklahoma State like that.
Well, Malik Murphy, you know, everybody says that Arch Manning is the next man up in Texas. I don't know if we believe it or not. I don't know if it's because of the boosters and the NIL deals. Is he going to feel pressure that he has to play Arch Manning no matter what? But if Malik Murphy is trying to basically put himself on a commercial for the
Interview him
putting
for
his
a job.
resume out there.
Interview him for a job.
he's got to do better than 19 for 37.
Well, either way that goes, Texas, the boosters, the fans, the alumni, everybody out there, they have to realize something. Starting next year, they're playing SEC teams. So, do you really want to put Arch Manning out there against an Alabama defense or a Florida defense or a Georgia defense?
Fucked up Jaden Daniels.
I mean, do you really? I mean, is that something you really want to do? So, you know, it's going to be tough for them. Them and USC both. USC they're going to be in a whole rebuild too.
Shit, they're damn near going to be 500 or less in the Pac-12. What's going to happen next year?
Yeah, you got to throw him in the fire and see what you can do.
But see, Caleb Williams is gone. I mean, yeah, you know, you see that. Well, he'll come back for the NIL. Blah blah blah. I don't believe that he's going. He's probably going to be number 1 in the damn draft.
Another
bust
bust.
or not. He's probably going to be the first.
Another
pick. There's no
bust
way
for
he
the
comes
Bears.
back. Do you think he's coming back?
Chicago Bears
God.
going to draft him and have another. Then they're going to have 2 Justin Fields.
Do you think that Caleb Williams is coming back to play a Big Ten schedule when they can't even get through the Pac-12 schedule? And that whole defense they got is garbage. They just fired Alex Grinch, the defensive coordinator.
All right, moving on. Down in SEC country, LSU traveled into Tuscaloosa to play the Crimson Tide.
Oh, it looked good for a little while. And then it didn't.
and then Nick Saban got into the halftime locker room and made his adjustments. They came out, scored 1 touchdown, and then it was shut downville.
I mean, is it safe to say now that Jalen Milroe is the best player on the Tide?
You know,
I mean,
There's a couple receivers.
I was tough on
Jermaine
Jalen.
Burton.
Yeah,
That's not the one I was thinking about.
three
fucking punk.
receptions for 29 yards Saturday night against that LSU defense.
He's just a punk, man. God,
I hate
he's
him.
talented, but he's a punk.
Matter of fact, no receivers had any touchdowns for Alabama. which is
Well, that's because Milroe ran them all
that's
in.
right. Yeah,
Fuck, he had
219 yards.
He had 4 touchdowns rushing.
So
And why would they take a chance on throwing the ball when they get close if they can average 6.5 yards a carry as a team? You know what I mean? So just hand the ball off or let Milroe run it in. But he has turned the corner. I was so hard on him to start the year. Just because his throwing technique and the way he throws the ball just looked awful. And I just couldn't see. But
how about Saban putting the season on the line in South Florida against the Bulls by keeping Milroe on the bench and playing Tyler
just to prove
Buckner?
a point.
Yes.
Just to prove a point.
Yes.
He knew he could put him in and win that game whenever he wanted.
Oh, yeah, that one was wrapped up.
He said, we can do whatever we want in this game.
But Jaden Daniels, 15 for 24, 219. He averaged 9.1 and threw for 2 touchdowns. He had that one costly pick. He rushed for 163 yards. He had a touchdown there. His longest run was 40 yards. He did, like Chris said earlier, whether there was a spy on him or supposed to be a spy, he didn't spy real good.
he wasn't spying.
No. It wasn't I spy. It was by spy.
The Alabama defense, set up just like that Georgia defense. And the same problem they have is they get caught up in coverage. Nobody's playing hard on that quarterback, and he took advantage of it. But I think what happened here is by the second half, the Alabama team knew they were bigger, faster, and stronger than LSU. And they went out there knowing that we're just about to go knock the shit out of these fucking guys. They can't take it. You know?
And that's what they did.
And this one came down to, you hear Kirby talk about it all the time, physicality.
Yeah.
This game came down to physicality. And when it got late in those late quarters, Alabama's physicality and toughness, it was just too much for LSU.
Took Jaden right out of the game. Left in the third quarter. And, he's doubtful for this week, too. So Florida gets him this week. So.
Ooh. Well, good luck, Jaden. I hope you get better. Sorry about your Heisman hopes.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry about my
you probably
12-1 ticket.
You probably still deserve to be a top candidate, and you probably will be. If you were on a halfway decent team, buddy, that trophy would be going home with you.
Moving on to the track meet that was the Washington Huskies at the USC Trojans. 94 total points.
Defense.
Speaking of which, the defensive coordinator got fired. Alex Grinch no longer on the USC staff. He's gone. I don't know what these guys are going to do. I don't know what they're going to do next year. Whether Caleb Williams comes back or not, it's not going to matter. They can have all the 5 stars in the world, all the talent in the world, but it's the same old thing every year with these guys. Same old thing.
Well, I've watched Caleb Williams more this year than I did last year, and I've said this before on the show. He's playing flag football.
Yeah.
And so when he's playing against a team that's incompetent, he looks like a man among children, running around, throwing incredible throws. But I haven't seen a quarterback that can go to the next level, read through his progressions, get rid of a ball in 3 seconds. I don't see it. You know what I mean? And he ain't going to be able to run around like that in the NFL.
No.
No,
the backyard mentality's got to go.
They'll break his neck. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
They're a little bit faster in the
ask
NFL.
Justin Fields.
Right.
Yeah, really.
There's a guy that holds the ball too long.
So, Washington they get the victory, 94 points in the game, just nuts. And now Washington has to get prepared for Utah coming in Saturday. So,
and USC's hopes are out the wastebasket.
as well as the Heisman for Caleb.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right
done.
about that. He was probably done anyway. I don't see him giving a back-to-back Heisman, but
Yeah.
But yeah.
So who's
He's
our top
definitely done
pick
now.
Who's our top pick for the Heisman right now? Michael Penix still?
I say Bo.
I
I
say
think Bo
Carson
Nix.
Beck.
I think
I wish.
I think Bo Nix takes the reins from Penix, but I think it's going to take that rematch and
Kidding.
a shellacking that Oregon's going to put on Washington.
Well, the Michigan quarterback's still up there, too.
Oh, yeah, he's
Yeah,
J.J. McCarthy's flying free. Well, they quietly put up 45 points a game, and nobody, ESPN hates them, so they don't get love.
He had no touchdowns last week.
McCarthy?
None.
So, Bo Nix
You
is
can't win the Heisman Trophy and be a quarterback and play a Purdue team and not have a touchdown. You can't tell me you're the most valuable player in college football.
Yeah,
You can't do it.
You got to have one, running or throwing or
Do
something.
something.
Do something. Get in the end zone, kid.
That's it for recaps.
One more recap real quick. We don't have to go into detail, but I would like to say that Notre Dame has officially shit the bed.
Yes, they have. When you're losing to Clemson and Dabo.
God, the game.
Dabo,
Oh my
Dabo
God.
with the gay quote of the week. If Clemson was a stock, you better buy us now.
Just yelling
While
and
we're
screaming like
down.
he won the national championship.
Oh my God, bro!
He's got 4 losses this year.
Like, sit down, Dabo.
And they might lose another one this weekend to Tech.
Go get on your computer and learn how to work the portal. Come back next year.
I heard somebody was talking about Tyler from Spartanburg has seats on the 50-yard line now.
Nice.
I got one quick shout out. Arkansas Razorbacks.
Boom. Get it done.
They get rid of Dan Enos, promote Kenny Guyton, the old Ohio State quarterback. They put him in as the offensive coordinator, and they go out and score 39 points in the swamp and beat Florida in overtime.
Love it.
And they get my mighty Auburn Tigers this week. And
Is Florida going to win another game this year?
No.
There was somebody that was high on Florida preseason.
Yeah, who was that?
The guy sitting across from the guy that was high on the
Oh,
Gamecocks.
South Carolina. Sitting next to the guy that was high on
Texas
A&M.
A&M.
Sitting across from the guy that was high on Duke.
Oh my
Yeah, I
God.
was high on Duke.
Hey,
I
listen.
think we were
you know,
all just high.
The problem with Duke is that they're not deep enough to next man up. And Riley Leonard's a great guy and a great leader for that team. And I hated to see them go down because I like to see some of those underdog teams have a great season. It's just good for the sport. It's good to talk about. It's a feel-good story. But poor Dookie, they're done.
But Sam Pittman, that probably saved Sam Pittman right there.
Saved
And
his
it did.
job.
There was an escalator in his contract, so now it's something like $5 or $10 million to buy him out now. So that if he gets gone, then he'll have a little parting gift. But
Yeah,
that
hey,
probably
man.
saved his season right there.
We'll gladly take him back.
All right, let's jump on to the upcoming games for this week. We'll start off with number 3 Michigan versus number 10 Penn State. Michigan is favored -4.5, and this game is in College Station.
Yeah, and that line, come out at like 5.5, some places like that. They bet it down, all the way down. There was a 3.5 that flashed for a little bit, and it's come back up to 4.5. But, we can talk about this game however long y'all want to. But let's talk about James Franklin playing just like Ohio State 2 or 3 weeks ago. When he plays a top 10 team or Ohio State or Michigan, he cannot win.
He's
He
3
can't
for 16 versus top 10 teams.
Nah, I don't know if it's play calling. I don't know if he just sends the energy to the team, right? Like, come on, guys, let's go give it a shot.
Well,
Like, what the fuck? But
Hey, guys,
win
just
one
strap
for the
in.
Gipper.
Yeah, just come on.
Hey, listen, guys, just do the best you can. Keep
Yeah.
it close.
Come on. We're going to do this.
Now, here's what I hate about this game. I hate the fact that this game is not 2 undefeated teams playing, because Penn State lost a tough game at the Shoe, 20-12, and it took a pick six
yeah.
to do it.
Well, it was a scoop and score.
A scoop and score, not a pick six. It was a scoop and
no,
score.
that was a scoop and score that got called back.
They got called back,
And
right.
then it was the
pick six.
yeah.
So, it's an unbelievable turn of events for them. They could have. They should have got away. They should have walked out of Ohio with a win. They should be undefeated playing Michigan. But my point in bringing that up is if Michigan goes to Penn State and just drives a stake through their heart and beats them by 3 touchdowns, if that doesn't show the world
Yeah, I
that
think-
Michigan is on another level than Ohio State, and we get a college football playoff ranking next week that still has Ohio State with an 80% chance and Michigan with a 30% chance.
Well, Ohio State's
This
going to
whole
beat
fucking
Michigan
thing
State
is
by
rigged.
40 this weekend.
Yeah.
Ryan Day's he's definitely going to score as many points until the damn clock says 0-0-0, and he still might run another play.
I think Michigan goes in and whoops Penn State's ass and they leapfrog and they go up to 1. But
Well, last year,
that's what
Michigan,
common sense would tell you.
last year Michigan took basically this same team, and they ran for like 425 yards against that Penn State defense. So, Penn State struggles offensively when they play a good team. When they play a good defense, they only managed to 12 points against Ohio State. They struggle. Drew Aller, he will be at home, so it's a little bit different than playing in the big
he
house.
came back and had a
Shoot.
good game last week.
Yeah. So, Michigan, they got all the tools. This will be the first quote unquote real team they've played all year. So, if you want to consider that as a test or not, we'll see if they can pass it. I think they can.
Well, Drew Aller played against a pretty good Maryland team this week and went 25 of 34 for 240 yards, 4 touchdowns. So, is he a freshman?
Yeah, but yes, he's a true freshman.
He's a true freshman. So I don't know the details of the rest of Penn State's team, how many guys they got coming back or going out, but I think having a good freshman quarterback and having the year that he's having, they're going to be on.
But you know that Maryland team, they lost to Northwestern.
Yeah, but they still put up 51 against Maryland. I mean, that's, you still got to get out there and get after it to do that. So my point is Penn State is going to be on high alert for next season with Drew Aller coming back.
Yeah, but, their vaunted running backs, Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton, they're probably gone. But they hadn't made a difference this year. So it's a very peculiar team because we really don't get to see them play anybody.
Are they the Georgia Tech of the Big Ten? they
might be the Texas A&M of the Big Ten,
better.
except they actually win games.
Oh yeah, they don't lose every game by one score.
Yeah.
What else we got?
How about a little Utah, Washington?
Yeah, we got number 18 Utah versus number 5 Washington. This is going to be Husky Stadium in Seattle. Washington is favored -9.5.
Yeah, and Michael Penix, several games this year, has not looked up to par. He did good last week against that vaunted USC defense. But this is a little bit of a different test here, Bo Nix did tear that defense up. Now
Bo Nix ate them alive.
Oh yeah, he ate them
up. Oregon went in there and beat their ass 35-6. But
there's a possibility of some weather in this game.
If there's some weather in this game and it comes down to a physical battle,
that kind of leans toward Utah, right?
Upset alert! Upset alert!
But Utah's going to be hampered a little bit. They're already kind of offensively challenged.
All-American safety.
Savaki
slash running back slash receiver.
He's dinged up. Johnson, their running back, he left the game last week. He's questionable / doubtful to play this week for Utah. So the one thing that Utah can do is they can play defense against anybody besides Oregon. Okay. So Washington is, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I really don't believe in them, and yeah, they're undefeated, but
Washington is on a 16-game winning streak, which is the second
to the Auburn Tigers.
No.
And the worst game that they played this year was a 15-7 win over a pretty shitty Arizona State team.
Yeah, and that was just a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I don't think he had a touchdown in that game. Matter of fact, I know he didn't have a touchdown in that game.
So I think they were looking ahead to Oregon.
Might have been.
That was the week before the Oregon game. They probably didn't even practice for Arizona State.
Yeah.
But
they're laying 9.5, and that's that might get your attention if you like to bet dogs a little bit. But it's a scary Utah team to bet on because we know that if a team gets in front of them, that they can't catch up.
No, and then they start trying to overpass and
Bryson Barnes is not equipped. He's not Cam Rising.
So I don't know. I don't see that game going in what I would call my favor. My favor being I like Utah. Me and you both share the same feelings toward them. We feel like they're an SEC built team out there on the West Coast, and but I feel like that game's going to be too much for them. And at Washington, Washington plays way better home.
Oh yeah.
So unfortunately, I wouldn't bet it at all because Utah has the ability to beat anybody at any time, but I just don't see it going the way I wish it would go.
Yeah. So. Good luck to the Utes, but we'll see.
All right, number 13, Tennessee versus number 14, Mizzou in Columbia, Missouri. Tennessee is actually favored by 1 point, but I think that's moved a little bit, hasn't it, Jeff?
No, it's they're either 1 or 2.
Yep, sitting at 1 according to Circa.
Yeah, so, but this goes back to, in my opinion, the reason why you see the line like this. Missouri just came off a very physical game that they were high on the world.
Well, they played good too.
Yeah, they played good.
I mean,
Georgia players came out and said, "Hey, that was a good team. They were a good physical team."
Man,
they lost the turnover battle. Basically, is what happened.
They were in that game till 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, man.
So you see this Tennessee team coming in that, what are they really playing for? I don't know, what a berth to the Chick-fil-A Bowl or something like that. But
they get some free chicken nuggets.
Yeah, or whatever Milton wants. But, they do play defense, right? They can play defense. They can get after quarterback. And you just got to wonder, how beat up is Missouri and can they get up for this game? Because That was Missouri's season last Saturday.
Yeah, this is Missouri's 4th ranked team in their last 5 games. So they are probably beat down pretty good.
Yeah.
If history dictates anything, Jeff's point is hard to overlook. Anytime you come off a super, super intense game, getting up for the next game is always tough. The advantage to this is that they came to Athens for that game, and now they're going home.
Yeah,
you know,
if that would have been in Missouri last week,
if they were going to Tennessee for this game, I don't think they could pull it off. But going back home after last week's game, they earned. I think they earned the nation's respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think it's no slap in the face to them. But here's a couple of interesting things. So let's compare the Kentucky games for both teams, right? Tennessee at Kentucky goes in, barely pulls off a 33-27 win. Missouri also at Kentucky rolls in there, just drops 38 on them.
Yeah.
Kentucky scores 21, 38-21. So, I mean, I like to compare. You know, they played at the same place, same team. I like to compare the stats on those games. I think Missouri's going to win the game. I
do too.
How can you trust Milton?
At
all? I mean, I just don't. I don't know.
40-yard Joe.
40 yards and a can of dip.
40 yards. That's what you're getting on a 5-yard out or a 10-yard curl or
it's going to be 110 miles an hour.
Or a 40-yard pass.
Catch me if you can.
You're getting 40 yards of football.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I think Tennessee's got their hands full, and that's the 3:30 game. So I guess they'll get to hear Gary, right?
God, I hope so.
Go get them, Gary.
Yeah, we got lucky. Ole Miss Georgia's at the took the night spot, so the crowd should be loud.
Speaking of Ole Miss Georgia,
yeah, let's jump in there a little bit.
All right, I got number 9 Ole Miss coming into Athens against the allegedly number 2 ranked UGA team.
Depends on which 7 polls you look at.
Yep.
They might be 1, they might be 2, they might be 6th.
Georgia is favored by 10.5 points. This is a Athens night game. If Georgia wins, they clinch the SEC East Conference. Or if Missouri beats Tennessee, Georgia clinches the SEC East.
My favorite comment of the week, Lane Kiffin, press conference earlier this week, says, well, we're trying to figure out the formula to go to Athens and win a game. Nobody has been able to beat them at that stadium since 2016, and the last guy that did it's now on their staff, so I can't ask him. That's fucking awesome. Hey, You know what? If you're a football fan and you don't like Lane Kiffin, then you don't like football, man. I just can't. If you don't like Lane Kiffin, you can't appreciate that guy. But Kirby and Lane are friends. They got nothing but good things to say about each other. It's going to be a fun matchup. We'll get more detailed on our other show, the Dog Show. So tune in for that.
Yep, it's going to be a hell of a test. We'll see what we can do.
All right, USC versus number 6 Oregon. This game is in Eugene, and Oregon is favored by 15.
USC trying to get refocused on defense after, firing Alex Grinch, defensive coordinator. Meanwhile, Bodacious and the Ducks, they look to keep quacking and quacking heads.
That's good, Bo.
They're playing at home, a late game. Oregon's going to roll. USC had a battle last week.
Yes.
Same thing with them. Let's say we're talking about Missouri at Georgia. USC had a battle at home. Yeah. Now they got to go on the road, try to get up again for another team that's probably better than the last team they played.
Oregon had a cupcake versus Cal, 163-19.
Oregon's going to play defense.
Yeah.
So USC's not going to put up 40-something points against Oregon.
Yeah, their run defense is not the best in the world. So, but does Lincoln Riley know how to run the ball? I mean, he pulled Marshawn Lynch in the game last week for who knows why. Nobody even knows. If you go out here and you try to just sling the ball around on this Oregon team, you're going to have problems.
Marshawn Lloyd, what did I say? Marshawn Lynch.
I meant Lloyd, sorry.
Damn.
He pulled him too. He got pulled a cow and Oregon beat that ass.
I started laughing. I was sitting there. I was like,
Lloyd, I think he's a transfer out of South Carolina, I believe. But
yeah. So, Oregon's favored by 15. I don't know if they'll cover.
Yeah.
But I think they might. But I think it's a good chance they do.
I mean, I can't take the points.
I'm saying 55-30.
First half.
I mean, I'm looking at, I think it's going to be a 50.
Yeah, I mean, that total's sitting at 73.5.
I think it's going to be a 50-30 game.
You know, you see the bookmakers here. They want you, just get that 15. They want you to take it.
Yeah, they do.
It's 15 points in Caleb Williams. Are you kidding me? It's more than 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling, I'm not going to bet on that game on the spread. I am taking the over.
Blowout of the week.
I think they're going to get, you think it's going to be a blowout of the week?
No, I don't know. I don't know what. Listen, what does Dan
Ohio
Lanning?
State game's the blowout of the week?
But look, Oregon's got more to worry about than just this. They all they got to do is just win this game and get ready for what they got. They still got Oregon State on deck, the Civil War, and then they got that Pac-12 championship. So now they might score 61 points on accident. It might just happen.
Yeah, they're going to go out. They're going to score. They're so excited about this shitty defense coming to town that they can't wait to score. I mean, they're probably betting in the locker room if they can get 30 a half.
Oh well. Yeah.
So
we need to find that first half total.
I'm playing the over.
Yeah, go over.
All right. Huge rivalry game coming up. Miami traveling to Florida State.
I know that Miami's had their struggles, but don't count them out of this game.
It scares me as a Florida State fan, this one right here, especially laying 14 points. But they are in Tallahassee, okay? But they're nicked up. Look, you know, last week I had Florida State as my blowout of the week against Pittsburgh. They go down 7-0 right off the rip. They end up winning the game 24-7. But little did I know, Johnny Wilson wasn't going to play. Keon Coleman wasn't going to play. And maybe they just said, okay, hey, we're just going to get ready. We know we got to beat Miami. We know we got Miami on deck. Maybe that's all it was. But when Jordan Travis doesn't have his, you know, whatever you want to call them, Corvettes, Maseratis, Ferraris, or whatever you want to call them, it's in this Miami team, they do play defense a little bit.
And Jordan Travis without Wilson, honestly, without Wilson, I think
Keon Coleman's huge.
I think that Keon Coleman, I mean, his hand, like that, he's probably got between him and Pearsall the catches that up for those are the best 2 catches, probably 2 of the best catches I've ever seen in football, but in college football. But you know, I don't know. I don't know what to say about this game. I mean, Miami is just struggling. I mean, they lost at NC State last week.
I mean, Tyler Van Dyke, you know,
Georgia Tech beat them too, didn't they?
Yeah, Georgia Tech beat them on the. That's Mario. I don't kneel Cristobal.
They went to overtime with Virginia.
I think that was the dopehead play of the year.
I almost feel like I'm holding on to hope from early in the year with Miami, but you never know about those in-state rivalries.
Yep. I couldn't lay. I'm just, this game right here to me has just got not red alert on it, not upset alert, but just be careful. Just be careful.
Just be careful. All right, so let's jump right into last week's picks.
Let's skip last week's picks.
You struggled last week.
You did.
1-6 and 2. Ooh. And the blowout of the week lost.
At least you got them live game bets in late that night.
Hey, listen, as a bettor, and I did a lot of this last year. I know you saw me in the Ohio State Georgia game. I've learned in the last 3 years, if you're paying attention to what's going on, it's a lot easier to justify what you're doing on the in-game bets. We're picking these games in last week. What day did we pick on last week? Tuesday or something?
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, I didn't know Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman weren't going to play for Florida State. I'm already hesitating about going on the road, but that was against a Pittsburgh team that absolutely sucks, and they only scored 1 touchdown in the first quarter, but Florida State couldn't cover. So, when we pick these games, these numbers move. I've had closing line value all year and just got my head beat in. And for those of y'all who don't know what closing line value is, means I take an early number and then the number moves in my favor. So let's say I had Georgia -10 against Missouri. Let's just say it was Georgia -10, and the line ends up closing Georgia -13. So I got 3 points of closing line value. Okay, that's just a scenario. But all year long, I've had closing line value, and I've got my head beat in. It's the toughest year betting college football I've had in recent memory. I can't think of another year.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what I did notice. Every bet you made after you were pretty deep into about 6 of those Mick Ultras, you won. It's
the serum, baby.
Maybe you just got to get your fucking heart right now before you start betting.
That's right.
But I mean, me and Jeff were talking at halftime. We watched several games the other night, and we were talking at halftime what we thought the score was going to be, and we were
Yeah.
There was a couple games that I was within a point of both teams of the final score.
I'd like to take a survey or ask the audience, like, which of these streaming services has the least amount of delay?
Oh no, they're all terrible. That's the hardest thing. That goes back to the betting the end game. You gotta wait really for a commercial break or a halftime, and then because Circa, they don't even offer in-game betting while the game's on, simply because of the delays and stuff.
Right.
They'll open their in-game betting on their apps during the commercial.
Damn, Justin Timberlake screwed us all up with old Nipplegate at the Super Bowl.
But I mean, these streaming services are worse than cable. Way worse than having cable. This YouTube and Fubo and Fubob and whoever the hell else they all are, they're terrible.
It's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like watching the Braves game.
That's why I want to know which one sucks less.
Y'all remember? But y'all remember last year when we was watching the games down here in the basement, and I would have my app up. I could tell y'all.
Yeah, you watch the line move.
I could tell y'all
and predict what the next play was going to be before it even happened.
Well, I mean, they really are, or at least I know when the Nipplegate thing with Justin Timberlake first happened.
That's no delay for sure.
They're supposed to be on like a 10-second delay or whatever in case somebody drops an F-bomb or says something racist or whatever it may be, so they can correct it before it goes live. So I think by law it has to be on some sort of delay.
All right, let's talk about those picks. How'd you do? What'd you do, T?
Oh boy, yeah. I had a 1-1 and lost 2. When we called the red alert on the Notre Dame -3,
We all should have pulled out of that one.
We all should have pulled out.
All 4 of us picked the same game.
Delete.
I mean, Clemson had sucked so bad all year. Notre Dame was playing pretty good, and I just thought they were going to go in there and just mollywop them, and
Didn't happen.
did not happen. So
They got mollywopped. They got Dabo whopped.
So I also lost the Army versus Air Force game. I actually took the over. I thought that 32 was pretty low. All the turnovers did not help, and it really sucks because I thought Air Force was having a great season, so that kind of shut them down. And then, of course, Jeff wasn't here to talk me into the taking the under. So Washington versus USC, I won that one. Washington covered over the -3.5. So.
All right, perfect. I was 2-3 last week, 2 wins, 3 losses. Lost the Notre Dame game. Clemson beat them. Took UGA over Missouri by more than 16. Lost that. Took Maryland plus the 10 points over to win or to cover over PSU, and that did not happen. Washington over USC. I won that one with a 3.5 given to Washington. And then Colorado stayed within 13.5 of Oregon State. So that takes me to 15-7 on the year.
Won the battle, lost the war.
15-7 is still pretty good.
That's
it's not
good.
too bad. 68%.
15-7.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the Colorado game. You won the battle and lost the war.
Yes, I did.
Oh yeah.
I still got Washington State.
Jeff, did you just want to leave it at I was 1-6 and move on after your rant
that's
a minute
fine.
ago, or did you want to go into any details?
No, I mean,
I didn't figure you were too excited to talk about it.
yeah, it is what it is, man. One of
All
the
right.
deals.
Well, unfortunately, I was part of the clown show that took Notre Dame at -3. But outside of that, bitches, I was 7-1. If I would have dropped that game, I'd have went on a roll this week. I had Oklahoma State covering at home. Of course, they won the game. Had Washington covering. Had the over on that game because I said they were going to score between 90 and 100. Wrote it down right there, 90 and 100. They ended up with 92.
You're a damn soothsayer.
That's right. Alabama -3. Get you some of that. Y'all were scared of that game. I took all over it. And here's where I won 3, rattled off in one game. Arizona. Had Arizona at +2.5. Said, bet them on the money line. They're going to win the game. And then I said, under 51. 7-1. Killing it, son. Killing it.
You could have paid your mortgage if you'd thrown enough money out on that.
Over the last 4 weeks, I'm 22-12-1. Puts me at 40-30 on the year, minus the first 2 weeks. I got to go back and listen to the tape, see where I was at.
All right, moving on. Let's jump into this week's pick. Since I'm on the microphone checker, I'll just get us started. I got 4 games to pick this week. I am taking Bama over Kentucky, giving up the 11. I'm going to take Kansas over Texas Tech, giving up 4. I'm going to take Mizzou over Tennessee to win straight up. And then I'm going to take Georgia to cover by more than 10.5 over Ole Miss. I think Kirby Smart's going to get them boys rolling and do some work.
We'll start off the Michigan-Penn State game. I like Michigan at that minus 4.5, and I'm also going to take the over. We've already discussed James Franklin's record against ranked teams, 3 for 16 versus top 10 teams. So I'm pretty confident Michigan's going to roll there. Tennessee versus Mizzou. I like Mizzou at the +1. I think they're really good. And they had a great game against Georgia last week, even though they lost. And playing at home in Columbia. So I think Mizzou's gonna beat Tennessee pretty good on that one. Oklahoma State versus UCF. I got Oklahoma State taking they're going to cover the minus 2.5. They are on a tear right now, coming off a big win against OU. All right,
Jeff. Before I read my picks, I have one question.
Mm-hmm. No, we're not going to beat Arkansas.
Are you taking Missouri +1?
Hell no.
You worried about the red alert going on?
Yeah, because both of y'all had it and I had it too. All right, I'm going to scratch through it, but I am taking over. I'm going over 58.5. I think that I don't know. I think they're going to do it.
I feel like if it goes over, that Missouri puts it on them pretty good.
I think so. So I'm taking Texas at -10 at TCU. TCU is god awful, and I'm taking over 53.5 on that game. UGA, Ole Miss. I'm staying away from the line, but I'm all about the overs this week. I'm taking over 57.5 on that UGA game. Oregon -15. I'm going to roll the dice. I think Oregon's going to cover. And I'm taking the over 73.5 because I think they're going to be in the mid-80s.
Well, that's the rule. USC games.
Yeah. USC, you bet the over. You just do. Because either they're going to score or they're going to give up a million points.
They're going to do both.
My upset alert is pretty obvious. You might have the same one, so I may not even mention it. But I think it's going to be at Michigan State. The only thing that could keep Ohio State from covering that 31.5 is it's going to be cold. Is that Ohio State?
No,
it's at the shoe. Yeah. So it's going to be like 40 degrees that day in Columbus. So that's got me a little concerned, but I'm still taking Ohio State at -31 because I think, or -31.5 because like you mentioned earlier, I think that they've got something to prove, and I think Ryan Day wants to pack on the points. And then, Tony almost got me talked into that Michigan game.
Don't do it. Red alert.
Michigan. Did you bet the Michigan game?
I did not.
I think they're going to win by double digits. So Michigan -4.5. I'm going with it. Roll with it.
All right. I got 2 Friday night games to start off with. We're going to take North Texas +17 at SMU. SMU's quarterback Preston Stone left last week's game in concussion protocol. Short week. Usually we don't see these quarterbacks come back that quick, and without him pulling the trigger, I don't know how many points they can put up. They can probably still put up some on that ridiculous North Texas defense, but North Texas is a scoring machine too. So give me North Texas +17. Second game Friday night, I'm going to take UNLV at home +5.5. This is a Wyoming team that has not covered the spread on the road. They're great in Laramie, but this ain't Laramie.
I looked at that game. I looked at it for a while the other day, and
Look, Barry Odom has got him something going on over there now.
I just don't know enough about him. So
to think Bobby Petrino left there after 1 or 2 weeks to go be the offensive coordinator for Jimbo.
Another good choice by Bobby Petrino.
Hey, if you ever got a question about something in life, just call Bobby Petrino. Whatever he says, go the other way.
Do the opposite.
I'm going to join the bandwagon as well. I gotta take Harbaugh against Franklin. I have to. It's for all the reasons that we talked about this week and 2 weeks ago when Penn State played Ohio State. It's all the same stuff. You know, I understand that Michigan has not played a quote-unquote real team yet, but defense travels, and they got a solid defense. So sign stealing or not, or changing signs or whatever they're doing, and Harbaugh, you know he's pissed. He's probably got Ric Flair in the locker room right now pumping them boys up for this game. So give me Michigan -4.5 at Penn State.
Woo!
Yep. I'm going to go down to Texas Tech at Kansas. This is a Kansas team that Last week I put Iowa State because I thought Kansas would be coming off that humongous high after beating Oklahoma for the first time in 2 decades. But they survived the upset alert, and they're for real. So give me Kansas -4. We're going to go down. We're going to take Navy +2.5 against a fighting Trent Dilfers. UAB coming off a short week. They're coming off a short week. Now they got to figure out how to stop that whatever hybrid triple option that Navy runs, and I'm not sure they can do it. And the fighting Trent Dilfers, for all they're worth, they give up a lot of points. So give me Navy +2.5. Colorado State. This is another team they get San Diego State. Colorado State's 3.5-point favorite. San Diego State. Here's their record this year. They lost to Ohio 20-13. They beat Ohio 2013. They beat Idaho State 36-28. Then they lose to UCLA 35-10. Oregon State 26-9. Boise State 34-31. Air Force 49-10. Somehow or another they beat Hawaii in Hawaii 41-31. But then Nevada went to San Diego State and beat them 6-0. So this is when the wheels start coming off. Last week in double overtime, they lose to Utah State. San Diego State they're not good. That's all there is to it. They're not good. Their quarterback Maiden, he's a hybrid cornerback / strong safety playing quarterback now. So I'm gonna take Colorado State and I'm gonna lay the 3.5. Also, I'm taking the under in Rutgers and Iowa, under 28.5, and I'm taking the over in USC and Oregon, 73.5, as rule. That is the rule. That is a pod rule. Blowout of the week. James Madison. UConn's coming to play the Dukes. James Madison, -26. They have appealed to the NCAA again, trying to get bowl eligible. Whether or not the NCAA will give their final ruling, they already turned them down once. But if they do say, okay, look, we're going to step back on this rule, we're going to let y'all be bowl eligible, they can be ranked, and the sack leader can be the sack leader, and all the stats can count, which is good.
Yep.
Because it's the stupidest rule I ever heard of in my life. Now, I understand they knew what they signed up for.
Right.
But this is a Connecticut team, a UConn team that just got molly-whopped by Tennessee and Knoxville. I think it was 55-6 or something like that last week. Now they got to go on the road again and take on an undefeated James Madison team. Yeah, good luck with that. I'll lay the 26. And my other one, I'm with Chris. Ohio State. I'm going to lay the points. I don't care if it's cold or not. He's going to try to score and score and score. And I'm not sure that Michigan State's going to score at all. I'm not sure they're going to score at all. So we'll see what happens. What's the worst I can do?
All right, so I'll get us started here with the stay in the truck. And this stay in the truck is a little different than other stay in the trucks I've done because it's not necessarily hating on the guy. It's more telling him to actually stay in the truck and don't come out. So my stay in the truck award this week goes to tight end Brock Bowers of the University of Georgia Bulldogs. Brock, I want you to stay in the truck because we don't need you just yet. So apparently Brock is running around practice in a black non-contact jersey. He's not running full speed or taking any hits, but he is out on the field, and Kirby Smart says that he could be ready to play this weekend versus Ole Miss. We got Ole Miss and Tennessee coming up. I want Brock Bowers to just stay in the truck until that SEC championship game when we really, really need him, and he's 100% healthy. So my stay in the truck goes to Mr. Brock Bowers.
Well, one thing about that, though, it's his last game ever at Sanford Stadium. So
yeah, you're right about that.
He's going to play. He might not play every down, and he might only play one, but his ass is going. He's going to be in there.
You think he's going to be in there?
He's going to be in there.
I don't think he is, but
he's going to be in there.
I hope he's not.
Yeah. Oy.
All right.
Maybe he'll take a direct snap or something.
My state of trust going to the NFL.
Oh,
Somebody call Roger Goodell and tell him that it's fucking football. They are handing out fines like it's candy at Halloween. Like, this is football. These guys have on pads. This game is violent. Whether you're a running back like DeAndre Swift, whether you're who was it got fined more than
Number
their
30
paycheck?
on the Steelers.
The Steelers. Warren for throwing a block.
Offensive lineman.
Yeah, he threw a block on an offensive lineman. No matter what position you play, these guys are getting fined $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 in a game, sometimes even more, just for making solid hard contact.
Did y'all see the video of DeAndre Swift?
Uh-uh.
I mean, he literally was going around the outside with the ball, and the dude come up to tackle him, and he just trucked his ass.
Got fined $10,000.
Yeah.
Lower
What?
than $10,000
It was ridiculous.
for
I
just
didn't
playing
see that.
football.
Yeah.
So NFL, fuck you. Stay in the truck. It's football. Roger Goodell, grow a sack.
Stay in the truck.
Stay in the truck.
All right. My Stay in the Truck award goes out to the Jackson State University fan that was heckling and verbally abusing the tuba player for the Texas Southern Band.
I saw the video.
Apparently, the tuba player had enough, and he punched this cat 4 times in the head, knocking him out. And then he kept on playing with the band like nothing happened and didn't miss a beat. So, Jackson State University fan, stay your ass in the truck.
Stay in the truck.
I'm going to go with this college football committee crap.
Yes. Yes.
Look, I despise ESPN anyway. The only reason I ever turn it on is to watch a football game or, basketball or whatever. That's it. And I keep it on mute pretty much most of the time anyway. But this crap they do, week after week, it doesn't even matter anyway. It's all a damn TV drama. It's all a drama show, but to hear what some of the analysts say and the way they, whether it's Herb Street and Gallo, I mean, come on. We know who they play for. They already ran David Pollock off,
Yeah, right?
So, and now you got, I don't even know if Pat McAfee, I'm sure he said something on his talk show the next day about it, but ESPN, college football committee, ranking show, drama show, Real Housewives, whatever you are, stay in the truck.
How long you think? Stay in the truck. How long you think Pat McAfee is going to be accepted by ESPN? Because he says whatever the fuck he thinks, but he brings in the money. People love him.
Yeah, I mean, DraftKings, they gave him $80 million and he walked away from it.
So how long is it going to be before he says something that puts all those crybabies at ESPN running to the boss or running to HR, whatever the fuck it is, while they're already losing money, running to Disney, their owner. I mean, they're owned by Disney. I don't know. I hope he can hang in there because he's the only person right now that makes it entertaining. He's fantastic on game day. I love his
Sun's out, guns out.
I love his show, But
Get him some sleeves.
all it seems like all good things come to an end because somebody gets their fucking feelings hurt.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Feels like LeBron James, the decision all over again.
That's another one. Lakers, stay in the truck.
Yeah.
2 nights ago, whatever, LeBron didn't get the calls. He didn't get the
they
foul
all
calls.
They complained to the damn NBA.
God. I mean, it's ridiculous,
They sent like
man.
film or something to the NBA complaining about all of it.
NBA's gone soft.
Oh, that was a 2-for-1, guys.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Catch y'all next week.
A bonus Stay in the Truck award. That's it for this week's show. We really appreciate you tuning in. Please remember to like, subscribe, and leave us some comments. Let us know how we're doing. Stay in the truck.